So every influencer or person that I've met or watched has said that Brunei Darussalam is boring. But I think boring is often misunderstood. Depends on what you believe is boring. Like people that say they can't have a good time without drinking alcohol. Some people need stimulated with theme parks. Some people just want a perk from a combini. Being able to tell the difference between a Dreamliner and an A350. Having a fridge magnet collection. These things might be considered boring to someone else, but absolutely fascinating to another. But when it comes to travel, people have a highly opinionated approach, and a lot of algorithms are cluttered by what everyone else is saying. For example, Kuwait has no tourism, Dubai has no culture, and Brunei is boring. I've been told that this small oil-rich country on the island of Borneo is the world's dullest place, and indeed one of the strictest. But says who? So with my decision to follow my dream of helping others travel better, I flew to Brunei on a layover en route to Kuala Lumpur to see if this place is really as dull as people make it out to be. Gold-foiled mosques, Komodo dragons, monkeys fighting, eating beef lungs, Sunday markets, and visiting an entire village and ecosystem that floats. So in spite of what the internet tells me, join me on a Calibrate the World perspective on Brunei Darussalam. Let's go! After landing late last night, I woke up early the following morning, both breaking my jet lag and with the intention to see what people get up to on a Sunday. First impressions are that the capital, Bandar Seri Begawan, is very tropical. You can see that there's a sense of calm and beauty in the look of this place. Also, it's nice to have a bit of nature. Makes a difference from all the dust. But it is quiet, but for a good reason apparently. If you're fortunate to be here on a Sunday, the capital's main roads are closed off for a Sunday market called Bandarku, Ceria. Every Sunday, the city centre becomes free of traffic to encourage community engagement and recreational activities. Some actually take the time to go for a morning run or a cycle, but these are the main streets of the capital city. This is honestly the best way to explore some of the landmarks within the city while there's no traffic. The market is quite lively. Very much the opposite of the boringness that was mentioned on social media. I really didn't expect this. Honestly, there's street food, clothes, tidbits, souvenirs, everything you'd want or need. And music as well. Sound on. Anyway, this has been fun, but we might as well use up the empty traffic to get some of the capital's landmarks before the traffic starts to build up. While it's still early morning, the sun isn't at its hottest yet. It's worth noting that Borneo is on the equator pretty much, meaning that Brunei has a tropical climate. In other words, it's really hot. Don't do what I did and do not put on sun protection. Please do this, for the love of God. Bandar Seri Begawan is not covered at all and you will be battered by the sun violently. For a country that has a low crime rate, the biggest abuser of the law is the sun. But if you can't find sun protection, do you know what repels the sun? Gold. Lots of gold. Even this mosque is well prepared. This is the Omar Ali Faifudien Mosque. Built by the 28th Sultan of Brunei, bearing his name, it's one of the biggest mosques in the Far East. But it isn't the biggest in Brunei. That's the Jam Asr Hassan al-Bolkiah Mosque, which is closer to the airport than it is to the city. It's inspired by Indian Mughal architecture, and it's covered in real gold. No, that's not a tin hat, that's actual gold. Also, there's a man-made lagoon within the complex, and has what is called the Maligai barge, a concrete recreation of Sultan Bolkiah's boat. While it's a fantastic architectural piece and tourist magnet, it's still a functioning mosque, but there's timings for when non-Muslims can visit. But I would be a little bit wary as a tourist here, because Brunei is governed by a very strong form of Sharia law. Even though it's uncertain how it affects non-Muslim visitors, a step out of line could get you into quite a lot of trouble. And that doesn't really stop at wearing shorts and vest tops as well. So I didn't really push the buttons when wandering about the mosque. But I did visit one of the prayer halls, which is not only a rest from the heat, but nice and peaceful and elaborate. Most mosques I've visited are always pretty and intricate in design. I'm not a religious person, but I do appreciate the efforts to create a space that makes people feel safe. Meanwhile, on the outside, since this is a big tourist spot, there are areas outside that you can explore, such as this frame. Yep, looks familiar to me. And this bridge place that straddles the Brunei River. Not entirely sure what this is for, but it does give you a nice view of the mosque. But Bandar Seri Begawan is not a huge place, or indeed the country itself. The population is just under 500,000 of all ethnicities. And with a lack of public transport, even though there is a bus service, but it's not the most frequent, most of the things in the capital can be reached on foot. So from the mosque, we can walk back up through the market and then onto two of the most interesting and unusual museums that I've ever stumbled across. You're going to want to hang about for the second one, but this one should be on your list. But it isn't obvious that it's there, but it did teach me a lot about Brunei. The National Museum of History tells you everything that you need to know about the earliest days of the Bruneian Empire, dating back to 1200 AD or round about that time. Yes, it's that old. This was a totally fascinating museum. Until I noticed something that I'm not entirely surprised about, but I kind of am. Brunei was a British protectorate. Here we go. But Borneo, where Brunei only has land exclusively on the island, British Malaya had purchased land from a weakened Bruneian empire, where Malaysia began to take up the land on the island. But this was controlled and commanded by a British guy called Charles Brooke. Yep. That's a very Malaysian name. But the museum shows correspondence and communications between key landlords and British figures over the sovereignty of Brunei. It's really fascinating and you'll learn so much here. And even showing you how young the country is even today. I didn't know that Brunei actually only joined the UN in 1984. Out of all the museums to visit, I would go here first because it closes round about midday. But right next to it is a museum about Brunei's collections, but ideally about one man only. Yep, it's the Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah. Let's just talk about this guy for a second. The current Sultan is very bougie. Let's just be straightforward about that. He has the highest personal wealth of any other leader within this region. He very much promotes peace in Brunei, hence abode of peace, but seems to just clad everything in gold. But if you want to learn anything about this guy, visit the Museum of Royal Regalia, which is about nothing but the Sultan. Upon entry, you can see books written about him, a background of his upbringing, and the fact that he went to Sandhurst, and his favourite sports, like tug of war. But these are elements and artefacts of things that he uses in everyday life. It's very much an open book of the possessions and the life of the Sultan. It's impressive, but it gets a gold star in my book because it even has my favourite thing ever, gifts from foreign leaders. Look, they've even got a quaich, and it's actually from Scotland. It's from the Edinburgh College of Surgeons. Okay, that was really bizarre. This is a total must. You have to see these artefacts. There's probably about $1 billion worth of things here. Do check it out. Also, speaking of dollars, the local currency is the Bruneian dollar, which has, guess who, but it's pegged at par with the Singaporean dollar. But it's perfectly acceptable to exchange Singaporean dollars here. It's considered legal tender. I wish that was an easier problem in my country. I even paid in Singaporean dollars for this Jollibee, which was 10 out of 10 by the way. The German embassy's got it good. But other than materialistic artifacts, I could maybe understand why there's a sense of boringness about that. But that's where you dig deep into Google Maps and apply pressure to ChatGPT just to get you something a little bit different and quite unusual. Now, to help you, I stayed in a hotel very central to the city, the Radisson, which is in front of a jungle, not a forest. It's not every day I get to hear that. But this is a hiking trail called Tasik Lama. It's popular with locals going for a walk or a run, but it's also a wildlife reserve. In fact, Brunei's natural landmass is over 80% compared to urban built areas. So they have wild birds that are unusual to Westerners. So bird watchers rejoice! One of the rewards is this waterfall. On a cloudy day, it's a little bit more atmospheric, but I'll take it. I'm in a foreign country. I'm in Southeast Asia. I'm feeling good about my choices right now. Nope. Yeah, that was a Komodo dragon. They can kill you. That's all I have to say. But I'll go and find the viewpoint at the tower so I can get a nice view of the city. Let's just be very clear. I'm a city boy. I'm scared of creepy crawlies and wild animals. I don't think I'll be attempting this again. But if you're brave enough, do give natural trails a shot. This will provide a different perspective to Brunei at its most natural. I actually feel that Brunei is more of a hiker's paradise. No pun intended, by the way, because it is a paradise. If you love nature and love getting at one with it, Brunei's the place. I think urban life is very peaceful and calm, but if you want adventure, hiking is the way to go. Because after a while, from the bustle from this morning, the roads have reopened. And it's dead. This could be because it's a Sunday, but the contrast from what it was this morning is stark. This is supposed to be a capital city, but there's barely any cars in sight. It's mental. So seeing as we've pretty much done most of the touristy stuff on this side of the land, let's go out to sea, literally. This is Kampong Ayer, otherwise known as the Venice of Southeast Asia. It's a proper council-recognised village that only floats on the water. People live here, have mosques, schools, cafes, etc, etc. It's a municipality in itself, on the water. And the most theatrical way to get there, where it's also essential, is via these water boats. But when you get to the seaport, do be careful, as there are hustlers hustlers looking to charge you way higher for round trips, including a trip to the jungle where you can go see the Proboscis monkeys, which are the long-nosed monkeys which are only native to Borneo. But I didn't fancy that after seeing that scrap earlier. Oh, by the way, the boat should only ever cost $1 Bruneian, which to me is quite a steal, and it's kind of good actually. I still find it nuts that there are houses and people living on Kampong Ayer. It's a really unique experience. You're literally on the Brunei River, walking along these wooden panels for protection. I've just realised my predicament. As much as this is interesting and most YouTubers come and visit this extraordinary place, IRL, it's stressful. Some of the wood panels aren't even nailed together, and if you fall through that, you're I can't swim, so this was amusing, but also incredibly scary at the same time. I also felt I was being really nosy. Like, these are people's houses. I'm walking up to someone's driveway. Can I even call it that? But this is definitely a fun little adventure. You can also see the Sultan's big house from here. So after you've wandered about the floating village, you can either peruse other places that Brunei has to offer, or you can go chill at your hotel from getting up early, which is what I did. As the day's sort of ticking on a little bit, we've only got one more big thing to see today. But there are other things that I was quite keen to check out in Brunei that I think would require a second visit. I think for a day out of Bandar Seri Begawan requires 2 full days rather than 1. One of the days would get you absolutely everything in the capital, but it doesn't get you to like Gadong Park Amphitheatre, which is a 20-minute drive northwards. But the significance about this place is that Michael Jackson played a royal concert for the Sultan and the people of Brunei, and it's remained lore ever since. I really wanted to see this, but after hiking, being blinded by vast amounts of gold everywhere, and being exposed to the sun for a dangerous amount of time, I reckon it's time to take a bit of stock. So I'll wake up in the next hour or so. So in the meantime, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, because the more of you that are here, the more weird and wonderful places I can visit, and to help me on my journey, help you travel better and show you the world. That was a really bad impression, I'm so sorry. But if you're subscribed already, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Back to the video. So a short clip later, and I've showered, and my skin is now a nice shade of cooked lobster. I'm off for a night out. Oh, but I bet you're saying, Cal, there's no nightlife in Brunei. It's so boring. Well, you might want to see this, because wherever I went, it was busy. And you know how much I hate busy places. I mean, just watch some of my other videos. Welcome to Gadong Night Market. Let's try some of Brunei and Borneo's best foods. This place was packed with people. Some appeared to be tourists as well, and some of which I was kind of scared to do before, but we're in Southeast Asia. You gotta try it. But I should say that in no part in this vlog did we try ambuyat, which was something that I really wanted to try, but I couldn't find it anywhere, nor I was recommended anywhere to go to try it. This was actually a failing on my side, because apparently it's really good, and it's the national dish of Brunei. I'm so sorry to those who were expecting that, but I might come back, who knows, maybe I'll just literally just come back for the dish. But we did try beef lung, and here's my first impression of it. To be fair, I've eaten cartilage and stuff before. It's not alien to me. It was actually quite tasty, but chicken's butt is definitely alien to me. That's not how the girl described it to me, by the way. And let's just say it's fatty, it tastes like dark meat, it's fried. Yep, that's the image I had in my head. That's a solid 4 out of 10. But I didn't deliberately come here just to try these, even though they're a bit of a novelty to me. But I wanted to try things like nasi goreng noodles, which have been made here directly in Borneo. And for the whole vibe for me, it was just enough to just get a feel for it. It's been a while since I was last in Southeast Asia, and I genuinely love the hawker-style food courts. It's a scene out of an Anthony Bourdain show, and you appreciate it more and more as time passes. But before you leave, make sure that you get a freshly iced cup of Milo. This is a chocolate milk thing that's really popular in Southeast Asia. My first sip has literally had me wired to the moon. Gadong is definitely worth the visit. The people here are super nice as well, and they make you feel at home here, which is, I guess, what Bruneians are all about. When I arrived in Brunei, I met a taxi driver who drove me to my hotel, and just to say, everybody out there that's saying that Brunei's dull and it's like, you gotta know people here, this guy gave me a pin badge. That's the nicest thing anyone has ever done in history forever. Anyway, that unfortunately marks the end of a quick layover to the world's most boring nation. Kind of feels a bit weird to say that since I'm knackered from all the walking that I've done. I do think, however, with a lack of nightlife of the Western variety and daily activities, I can maybe see why anything longer than a few days might seem a little bit too chill compared to its neighbours. Brunei's like the responsible guy at a group gathering, like the ones who are introverted and choose a night in on a Saturday while their friends are out getting smashed and they need their mates to bail them out of a cell for the night. And I kind of appreciate that. And it's also a dark horse with its human-killing Komodo dragons and vast nature reserves and floating villages and gold. Brunei definitely has things to surprise you. And weirdly, it left an impression on me. I should also mention at this point that any views that I've said in this video are my own. For a channel of only 370 subscribers at the point of this video, I was not asked or sponsored by anyone to say anything remotely nice about Brunei. I came here on a stopover en route to Malaysia because I believe that the world is such a big place, and this is me telling you to come and see it for yourself and then to make your mind up. You don't have to listen to me or Drubinski or Josh Cahill or ChatGPT. Just see it for yourself, make your own mind up. Like, this video is my view of Brunei, and I kinda liked it, so if that helps you, then... But the whole point of my channel is to help people travel better, so, you know, you kinda have to listen to me. And with that, if you like being shown parts of the world that you didn't know existed, or being pleasantly surprised, then hit that subscribe button, because I've got a lot of bits on my own backyard that I'm exploring that people who have lived in Dubai for 20 years don't even know about. Anyway, this was fun. Time to fly home now. Yeah, I suppose I need to do a video on that, right? Well, make sure you're subscribed for that. Thanks again, and I'll see you somewhere new.